My wife said I had to get rid of the horse mask, so therefore it gave me the impetus to finally read Animal Farm by George Orwell. Let's get to the point. You know Animal Farm. Similar to Orwell's 1984, it is so inherent within cultural references that most people, I included, when they read this, feel as though they already know the story. And this happened to me with 1984. I began reading it, and then really oddly, I have a very uncanny mantle that seems to cloak over me, where I begin to doubt if I'm actually reading the book for the first time. People have garnered the knowledge of Animal Farm through sheer osmosis, and I felt I knew every single punch that was going to happen. This is taught within the British education system, and it's also taught a lot within the media, and therefore I think I know a lot more about Animal Farm because it's so short. It's barely a novel. And I would probably argue you don't have to read this. I would argue that not even the common reader, but the common layman could tell you the themes, lessons, and morals of Animal Farm, having never picked up a book in their life. It is that prevalent that while they might not be able to go through the narrative beats of the novel, they get the gist of the novel. Now this puts me in a bit of a tricky and difficult dilemma because I review books, and how on earth do you review Animal Farm when most people know exactly what it's about? Now this is coming from someone who never scripts a video and does everything off the cuff. So how are we going to review it? Well, let's find out. That's enough of the mask. And students across Britain are thinking, oh, let's not talk about the Russian Revolution again. And this is an analogy towards Stalinism. Let me explain. Lenin in 1917 led the Bolsheviks to upend the Russian aristocracy. And if you want a TLDR on that history, I don't know, watch Disney's Anastasia, it's pretty good. Now, Leninism specifically needed a political vanguard to overtake the current regime. And this is what we see with Napoleon and Snowball's plans. These pigs obtain the vanguard that ultimately leads to the Battle of the Cowshed, a pivotal moment within the book. In a nutshell, we've covered Leninism. So what is Stalinism? Well, Stalinism is the implementation of Leninism. But Joseph Stalin, being Joseph Stalin, did as Joseph Stalin did, and that was whatever he damn wanted. And there, I think it's safe to say that Animal Farm is ultimately about the problem of putting ideas into practice, that the reality is different to the ideology. Because we start the book with the ideas of Old Major, who, like Old Yeller, dies. And if you think that's a spoiler, don't go watching Marley and Me, okay? Major has corralled the animals on the farm, that they should be equal, that the farmer is exploiting them for their goods and giving them nothing in return. And you can tell that everyone's on board with this idea because, like High School Musical, it ends in a little song. All of this together. I did warn you all, Orwell's Animal Farm is in the cultural zeitgeist. How does my brain work sometimes? Major's passage brings to the forefront Napoleon, who is Stalin, and Snowball, who is Trotsky. Sadly, we're not going to spend much time with Snowball because he's going to get exiled. And what's even sadder is that we're not going to see him get ice-picked in Mexico. Oh, but the brainchild of Snowball and Napoleon are the 7 commandments. And the major rule that everyone knows is that 2 legs equals bad, 4 legs equal good. You can feel it in the hen's tail feathers that they know it's going to end well. As within their starvation, they leave with nothing but a whimper. I promise you, if you've read the book, that is a 10 out of 10 pun. I promise you. But let's get down to business to defeat the Huns. The animals all bandy around the idea, and then the implementation is not what they thought, leading to the realizations of the animals, who are not pigs, that they are now in a worse situation than what they were previously in. Now, it might be a weird or quirky idea that the oppressed could become the ultimate oppressor, but this has been covered in another book. And if you like short books, because you actually managed to finish Animal Farm, I would definitely recommend you read Ursula K. Le Guin's The Word for World is Forest, where we see humans colonize a pacifist alien race only for the alien race to upend their traditional values to become possibly the worst thing the planet has ever seen. Now, I do have to say, with me knowing Animal Farm and knowing a lot about Animal Farm, and then deciding to read it in my 30th year for the first time, actually did not diminish the reading of this. I would agree that this book has remained undimmed and highly influential for a reason, and I think it's within its simplicity. There is a dark charm to Animal Farm, and I think that's a reason why you see in authors revisiting this. We've seen this with Glory by No Violet Bulawayo, and a recent published novel, let me find it, we have Adam Byles's Beasts of England. Yet I would maintain that you don't really need to read this, but if you are looking for a super quick, super easy read, I can't really fault Animal Farm, and for me, Animal Farm is a 7 out of 10.